Welcome to another Art City Tattoo class. My name is Chris Sage, and today we're going to cover all the different design principles that you need to consider before you compose a tattoo for your client. And another thing that she is doing here that I have on my notes that I want to talk to you guys about is diversity in design. Okay, so when you're creating a composition, if you look at nature, which is the best example that we have, when you look at a landscape, what makes a landscape so beautiful is that the pattern is ever changing. Unless you're intentionally doing something symmetrical where you want the pattern to be exactly the same, and that in itself holds beauty, a tattoo design needs to mimic nature. What does nature do? Makes everything irregular, makes everything different. If you look at a group of trees, not one tree looks the same. If you look at all the leaves within a tree, no leaf looks the same. This is something that this artist obviously understands and does very well. If you look at every single corner of this tattoo, not one corner of this tattoo looks the same as the other. It all works together and it all conveys a lot of beauty, but not one corner of that tattoo looks anything like the other. And that's the last thing they want to consider. Not the only thing, but one of the last things that I consider when I'm creating a design. I make sure that all the elements, I'm not being redundant with the design, but I'm creating this sort of dynamic diversity, in the design. Every little corner has something different, and it all kind of just has to work together, have contrast, have balance, have beauty. And ultimately, at the end, when you look at your tattoo, it has to give you that feeling. Every artist looks for a different feeling when you're creating a piece, when you're creating a piece of art. I know artists that the feeling that they're looking for is like, ew, that looks gross, because they like horror and that's just what they want to convey, right? I look for beauty. So when I or for that element of cool, like when I create a design and I can look at it and be like, damn, that's cool, that looks cool, that's what I'm looking for. So whatever it is that you're looking for as an artist, when you're done with your design, you have to get that feeling from it. Or like, that's funny, or that's witty, or that's scary, or that's beautiful, or that's cool, or whatever it may be for you. You know what I mean? Or that tells my message, whatever that message is, and or that's impactful. That's striking. Whatever it is, whatever feeling it is you're looking for, when you're done with your tattoo, when you're design, it has to give you that, right? Now that we're done with this, do you guys have any questions?
How do we do it without...
How do we do what?
Like, how we do a design without having so many details in it that it becomes overwhelming. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So we have to have the tattoo very intriguing and people can see every single detail, but how to do it without being overwhelming and to lose the composition.
Many different artists do it in different ways. You have to find the way that works for you. And also, what may be overwhelming for some may not be overwhelming from others, Overwhelming is a feeling, and it's very subjective. So maybe you can frame the question a little different.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like we have to, in this case, it's perfect because the face, it has a lot of detail.
Uh-huh.
And even though the other pieces are beautiful, is a little bit more simple.
They are simplified.
Yeah, so I think that's the best way to do it without creating...
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
For example, you don't want to overwhelm yourself with having details on the butterfly and details on every single leaf and details on every single thing. And yes, she does it very, very well. I mean, the beauty is there, but she has also simplified. Like, if you look at these leaves, they're not like hyper realistic leaves. She did simplify it in her own way but they convey beauty, you know? If you look at this right here, this is very simplified. She did, in fact, create the most amount of detail in the middle of the design. You can see it here, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. There is the most amount of detail here in the middle of the design, and then she simplified and made things a little bit more smoother, not so many textures. The most amount of textures are here. But even this face as a tattoo is simplified. I've seen people that do a lot more texture than this. This is an artist that is this is one of the best tattoo artists in the world. This is hands down one of the best tattoo artists in the world. And she does it extremely, extremely well. She knows where to put textures. She knows where to not put textures. Notice this part of the face right here. She's very, very good at doing exactly what you're asking. Look how even within the most detailed part of the tattoo, she chose no details here. And then she has a little bit details here. Not a lot, but only some indications that tell you that it's hair. Not a lot, but only enough to tell you, right? And then she puts a little bit more detail here. Not a lot, but it's where the most detail is. There's some indication of hair here. This is very, very simplified. She only actually did a little bit of texture here, and it indicates fur. But most of everything else is just soft shading, a lot of soft blended shading. She also did the same thing here, very, very simplified, and then she does these very simple indications of hair to convey that there's hair there. But if you look at it, there's really not a lot going on. A lot of it is just kind of painted on, and then she adds these little indications. I mean, this is a person that knows exactly how to like pull it back and not overdo it, you know? And I'm pretty sure that it also saves her time when she's creating this design, because if you look at a reference of a tiger, it's gonna have texture everywhere because it's gonna have hair everywhere. She knew exactly where to put the textures and where not to put the textures. But also, I feel like that's something that you're going to develop as you get further in your career and you do it so much that you start realizing the limitations of the machine, the limitations of the needles, how the ink, how the ink reacts in the skin, and how some texture heals versus how, no texture heals. And it's gonna get to a point where you may overdo it, and then when it comes back, you realize, like, I did too much here. Let me pull it back. I mean, a lot of this is just trial and error. It's just experience. I personally feel like I'm not at this level of awareness that this person is with her decisions in tattooing. But my tattooing is completely different to hers. I don't do a lot of nature stuff, but she does it extremely well. I mean, she knows exactly where to put just enough detail to where that heals good, it's solid, it conveys texture, and she's not overworking the skin, it's not overdone, it's not overwhelming, But again, that depends on every person. And this is something that is done to her ability and also to her own liking. Some people really like texture and they want to put it everywhere, I've seen a lot of tattoo artists that they do those like crazy texture skulls and they look super cool. They have texture everywhere. That's just what they enjoy doing. And what clients are they gonna get? They're gonna get those clients that are that's what they like, that's what they enjoy. So I don't feel like there's a right way or a wrong way of doing it, as long as you're getting that feeling, as long as whatever your intention is, you're actually achieving it, And you're gonna have to try different things. You're gonna try it too simple, and then you're gonna try it with a lot of texture, and you're gonna find maybe something in the middle that works for you, and you just gotta see what works for you. You might never want to do a tattoo like this. Maybe you stick to doing cartoons or whatever it may be, but the principles hold. It doesn't matter which style of tattoo that you're doing. Just hold on to the principles and apply them to whatever style of tattooing you're doing. Okay, cool. And by the way, if you haven't seen the previous class where we talk about tattoo placement, different tattoo styles, and all the challenges that you will face as an emerging tattoo artist, you can check it out right here. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you on the next class. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the class. If you made it this far, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you hit the bell button, as I will be dropping the next parts to this series in the following days. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.